wow, that's amazing. We got a
Yeah.
body of work all
Yeah.
collectively. This is amazing. And it's like, if this is amazing, why don't we do it more?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pink Rabbit Show. My name is Yusuf Rashid. Super excited to be back for another episode, but I'm even more excited because I get to be joined by Jersey's very own Caine Casket. How you doing, man?
I'm well, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you for being here. So I discovered your music, I'd say like a few weeks ago now. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of people discovered your music that way. And it was through my YouTube recommended when your video for New Life appeared. And I was like, and I was so blown away by that video. I thought it was so good. And I thought it complemented the song super well. So yeah,
Yeah.
if people haven't watched the video yet, please go watch it. Pause this video and now go watch it and come back. It's such a good video. Personally, I believe it's my favorite video of the year. It's
Thank
so
you, man.
good. Awesome, yeah. And I guess to start, I would just like to know how it all started for you, how you started making music.
I've been making music for a long time now, like um years to be honest. Like I've been making music for almost a decade. So like my process kind of started when I was younger. Like, I was like writing songs like as a really young kid and like these like weird bands like with like friends. And it transitioned from that to like me like writing poetry, like kind of like focusing on writing poetry like early in my like youth, just kind of like cultivating this like a pen. Like my older sister, she was in like a punk rock band, but she was also a crazy poet and like songwriter, and like she was putting me on like really crazy artists when I was younger, like in my opinion, like Blue and Exile, like a bunch of these like old like hipster kind of like old school hip hop artists, and a bunch of like jazz and like a bunch of like weird eclectic records. And I was like, oh, this is really dope. She was an eccentric, so it was really easy for me to like tap into that because I was too. And then my other sister, because I have three sisters, like she put me on to like Kanye, Lupe, and like I was just getting all this culture. And then my dad, he's West African. He would put me on to like, he's also a DJ and a drummer. So he would put me on to like a bunch of like old West African music or like modern West African music. And I was like listening to Afrobeat very early on. So like he was putting me on to like a bunch of different cultures. And like I think the mixing pot of that for me started like cultivating the artist that I wanted to become, because I kind of knew from an early age that I wanted to make music, but I didn't know what type of artist I wanted to be. So yeah, like, my journey was kind of like cultivating a sound. So I've had a bunch of different versions of myself, but I think this version that I am right now is kind of like a culmination of like kind of years of like kind of like fine tuning and tweaking and discovering, like, so I think it's kind of a reflection of where I am at right now, which you're listening to like New Life and like some of the records that are gonna be coming from this upcoming project. But I would say my path in music has been kind of like has its ups and downs, but like in terms of the process of getting to this version of myself, it's been definitely a beautiful journey.
Awesome, yeah. I feel like that's a great foundation to have. And while doing my research, I can totally understand that like foundation, like the background you've had, because I feel like your sound has evolved so much from, I guess, the first record I've listened to was, I guess, your EP, New Jerusalem. And then all the way
Oh
from
wow.
there, yeah. I feel like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you tell me like that you got this from your sister, your dad, and like all these kind of genres you listen to as a kid and culminating to where you are right now. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's like it's definitely been a journey, and I'm like really excited for people to hear what I have right now, because I think it's really a strong reflection of like, years of progress and like years of cultivating the sound. Like everything is basically produced by me. If it's not produced by me on this record, it's produced by my co-producer Will Roy, or my other co-producer Gamal Abdu. And like these are guys I've been working with for years. So
Awesome, yeah,
it's
that sounds
exciting.
great. Yeah, I would like to know, I guess, how you would describe your music to someone who hasn't heard about you before.
When I was first making my music, I was kind of was like my goal was to create something that people hadn't heard before. So like it was this like kind of like egoic goal to like make something that like was untouched or untapped. I wanted to make my own genre. That was always something I would say. So, you know, now it's a little different than that. But I think that when you listen to my music, maybe a couple years ago, you probably would listen to like you could probably hear hip hop, like R&B. You can hear a little funk in it. You can hear a little indie rock, a little post rock. Now, the new record is a lot of experimental, industrial, like I would say, like hip hop is definitely there, R&B is definitely there. Like they're kind of like one and the same to me. I would say there's like some indie electronica influences in there. Like that's always been big. Um, I would say I'm just like a merging pot of like a bunch of different things and genres. So like what I'm doing is just centered around like a series of different musical experiences. Um, you you mind if I pause real quick? I need to get a charger. I want to
Yeah,
answer your question. I
no worries. Take your
apologize.
time. Yeah, you're good.
So yeah, you can ask me again. I'll run it back.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you were answering exactly like how you describe your music. to Someone new. I don't know if you finished answering, but like you can keep
Oh,
going.
okay, yeah. I would say that my music. I would say my music is like when I was younger. My idea of my process was cultivated off of like me creating a genre. Like that was the goal. And as time went on, I started to like kind of bend that perception, and I was realizing like the things that I was trying to do before. Like if you listen to my older project, you'll hear like indie, hip hop, R&B, um, like post rock, some alt rock, even some like psychedelic stuff in my older project, like older projects. I was listening to like a lot of Jimi Hendrix at the time. Um, and a lot of world music, like world music was the goal. But creating a genre was always like my vision. So as I am now, it's less that. It's like more like about creating just an experience with the music. So the genres that exist in the new works are like industrial. There's like grunge in certain elements. There's experimental. Um, there's definitely still hip hop. There's definitely still R&B. Those are like the centerpieces. But I would say my music is just like kind of like a merging pot of like a bunch of different sounds. I wouldn't say like I make a specific genre transparently. Like I think a lot of artists don't nowadays, but I don't really think I was ever doing that. So I'd say if you listen to my music first go, you probably would say like, oh, this is hip hop music. But hip hop is just black music. So being a black person, I think that people kind of like oversimplify the fact that like you could be making other genres in the waves of other genres, um and it's just not like housed in hip hop. So I would say like I do make hip hop, I do make R&B, I do make black music, but I also make other genres, and like I kind of merge those genres into like what I'm doing right now. So I think my music is kind of like a vision board of like me matching a bunch of different sounds together and kind of like stirring a pot, if that answers the question.
Yeah, it's a great answer. I love it. Awesome. I would love to know, I guess, how a Caine Casket song gets made. I just want to know, I guess, what that process looks like for you.
My process is now it's pretty much kind of loose. Like in the past, I wrote a lot of my music. Like I would like jot a bunch of ideas down. I was kind of like very heady. Like I would like make a song name before I even made the record. So I was like building the world before the song was made, and I would like try to write in themes into the record. But now I kind of just let myself just kind of be a little bit more free. Like I don't record as often as I used to. So when I do record, I kind of just let it. It's like a free verse of like a collection of emotions or thoughts of like my feelings, and I don't write anymore. So I'll just like kind of go with the flow and like allow myself to just like go into state and just figure out where the song speaks to me. And then I'll cultivate it a little bit. Like, I produce all my stuff. So like I'm always producing it now. So at the beginning stages, I might make like a melody, and then I might add some drums, and then I might add like some like top line lyrics. I don't do like a lot of artists talk about like the whole like humming method and then they add the words in. I think that's kind of become a method that a lot of people use. I don't do that. Like I like go straight off the top. Like it's like about speed and proficiency for me. So it's like I focus on putting down exactly the things that I feel like I need to communicate, and then I'll come in and tweak it. And I'll work on a record for a couple days, see how it lives, share it with like my people, and then I'll come back to it, and see if it can exist in something bigger or it's just something that exists by itself. Because I make like thousands of records, and I have like thousands and thousands of records. Like for the last couple of years, I've been like even like in a year I'll probably make like 3,000 or 4,000 songs, which for some people isn't a lot, but for me it is because I have other things that I do too. So
Awesome, yeah. And you
no
don't
problem.
release a lot of music, so is it just like the fact that you feel like you're a perfectionist, or what is it about, like, or do you just like sometimes to just like make music for yourself? Like, what exactly is it like?
I would say that some people in the past would call me a perfectionist when it comes to making records, but like I'm an artist first. And I was like, even outside of music, I was like always making art. And I don't think that the process of release is takes away from your growth as an artist. Like a painter cultivating their practice is not going to show every piece. So I don't think it's about me being a perfectionist more so. I just think I always focused on cultivating my practice. And that's always been something that I've respected about like artists, not of the era. We exist in an era where we consume artists in for consumption. My mind has always been like artists that I've respected throughout history have been artists that have like cultivated works, and they were just making the works because they were trying to be great art. There was no forum for successful artists at that time. And now that there's like a streamlined chain where it's like if you're not making music for consumption, it's a hobby. I just don't believe that. I think like you can still cultivate your practice throughout years and then share it. And it should be respected when it is shared. Like I consider myself a self-made veteran. You know what I'm saying? Like I see my practice as that. Like I don't need it to be defined as that by my listeners or fans. It's just like that's in your efforts and your practice. It's like if you're podcasting for decades and it's like you've honed that skill, it's definitely going to people going to validate your ability by their consumption or their perspective, but like there is something said about cultivating that practice on your own. And in my belief, I think that's what I was trying to do for a long period in time. So like, I don't think anything is that I drop is comes out based on perfection. Sometimes I'll drop something that I just like, oh, I just like the energy on this record. Um, but yeah, it definitely it's a little different for me. Like how I decide what comes to life is typically based on like what I'm trying to make like a larger body of work. So I'm definitely a projects artist, like, album, like coming together with a full body. So that takes time for me. So, and I would say, if anything, this is just about me experiencing my life and then coming into that and figuring that out. If that
Yeah,
answers the
awesome.
question.
Awesome, yeah, and that's super rare. I feel like people these days like feel like they have to drop every single week, almost every 2 weeks, because maybe because they're stuck inside that like algorithm, or like they think that people are gonna forget about them, or like they're gonna maybe like disappear after not dropping after a while. But yeah, I feel like that's a very rare thing to see like these days. People like taking the time to make a project and not like make like also these days like a lot of the projects and albums that come out like all of the songs that like are included in that album are sometimes like dropped as singles like throughout the process, like before the album drops. So I feel like the art of like the album has been kind of lost, almost like that essence of it. And like yeah, I feel I love that process for you. I feel like we're missing a lot of that these days.
Yeah, no, it does. That we do. I think the art of a body of work is just like non-existent. And when we do get it, like I think it's synonymous that we're all like, wow, that's amazing. We got a
Yeah,
body of work all
yeah.
collectively. This is amazing. And it's like, if this is amazing, why don't we do it more?
Hmm.
It's a question to be asked.
Yep, I agree, man. Awesome. So I would love to know, I guess, how your song "New Life" came to be. I just want to know, I guess, how that process and what the meaning behind the song is, because it's an amazing song.
Thank you. I wrote New Life in I would say late 2020, early 2021. It started out. because I was listening to like a bunch of Nine Inch Nails, and I was like, damn, I really want to make like an industrial like record, but I wanted to be, a lot of my music in the past was a little bit more solemn, kind of like slower pace, like not as jovial or happy. I think at that point in my life, I was like trying to, when I write, I say sometimes I write into my future. So I'm like not writing for my current state, I'm writing for the person I want to be. So I was trying to channel a version of myself that was like joyful, happy, like like trying to imagine a life that like I want to live and like the experiences that come with that life. And at the time, I was also doing a bunch of different research about like kind of like eco sustainability studies and like kind of like getting into post-humanism. Like I was reading a bunch of these like weird obscure books about post-humanism, which is just like in short form is a concept about like how you can envision the world with like non-human ideas and forms. So it's like it could be a world that's totally existing with animals and like thriving, or just a lush world of fauna and flora, like greenery, plants, etc. Or it can be a marine world. But it's just imagining a world where like human influence isn't the catalyst for like the growth of that world. And I just felt like the pandemic really put us all in a place where it was just like, yo, we were all thinking collectively, like, yo, is this the end of human beings in general? So I was coming into this idea like, what does it look like to not to live in a world where there's less of us and we're like we're not the center of the universe. Um, so I started to like think about what life would be like then, and then yeah, I started New Life as like kind of this mantra to like imagine a change in myself and imagine a change in the environment around me. And it was just kind of like, it started really simple. It's like New Life I'm afforded. See, my past was distorted, kind of reflecting, like damn, like everything that I have now and everything that I am now is like a second chance, but like almost still like a rebirth. So New Life kind of came together like that, and it went through so many different iterations of like me kind of discovering certain things. There were different versions and stuff like that, but like the one we ended up on was just a culmination of a couple different things. After a while, I started to discover like what I wanted the song to be. It went from that industrial thing to like I was listening to like a bunch. I was with my like niece or nephew, and we were watching Fantasia, and I was like, oh my god, like that would be so dope to like imagine like adding this orchestral Fantasia sound with this industrial sound and like making this kind of like beautifully like experimental kind of like intermingling. So I was like, okay, these two things make sense. Then the energy of my vocal is kind of monotone, but it's still kind of jovial at the same time. So it's like kind of going back and forth between these two things. Um, so yeah, it was like me experimenting and just kind of living. And then after I figured out where I was going with the project, I think it all started to like make sense.
Awesome, yeah. And I guess I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the video was almost made in like in compliment with the song. Like I just want to know, I guess, how that video came to be, and like did the idea for the video came while making the song, or was it like after?
No, like the video, we shot the video for New Life in like 2021 or 2022, I can't recall. I was the first time that I had gone to Mexico City actually. I run a creative agency outside of music, so like we shoot a bunch of visuals for artists and brands, mainly artists. Like it's mainly been music videos, and so I have a background in that. And we were going out to Mexico to actually share a piece with Vans, and I was just there representing for the team and the squad. Like my guys, like we like make all this content, but like I'm not always on the sets. So I was going out there to like kind of just show support. But I had a really great opportunity to reach out to this architect. His name is Javier Sinoshian. He's like a really well known like organic architect. I had reached out to him about like my project that I was working on, and I got no response. And then a couple of months later, he responded to me and like put me on, gave me the opportunity to shoot at the space. A little before that, my partner at the time had showed me the space, so I kind of got privy to his work. And yeah, we went out there and he allowed me to shoot on the space, his property, which is a beautiful property. It's in like kind of in the outskirts of Mexico City. It's like an eco sustainability park, and like all the shapes inside of the park are like about things found in nature and marine base shapes. So like you'll see like an Ouroboros or like a conch shaped background. And the place that I was in was called the Avernando, which is this huge, colorful stained glass greenhouse. So the song was already done, and I had a vision about how I wanted everything to look. So we went out there and we scouted for like a day, and we basically on the scout, I like because I've just gotten down with my process, our studio process, where it's like I shot every scene on my iPhone, and we just made a cut of the video, so we knew what it was gonna look like way before we even like did the final shoot. So it was a really seamless process.
Awesome, yeah. And was the video made, I guess, with, I heard you say like it wasn't made with like any label support or any budget. Was it all from you, I guess?
Yeah, no. So I've been independent this whole time. I haven't been supported by anything. I handle all this shit myself. I'm blessed enough to be able to work with creatives, like I said. So a lot of my money comes from working with creatives. You know, I'm an artist. I would say like I work with creatives. I just produced a video a couple of days ago for this really dope group named Bathe. They're based in NYC. So yeah, you know, like I love working with artists. Outside of like my goal is to have my own label and like facilitate for artists too. You know, like my vision is to like help and support other artists do what they're trying to do because I know how the process is. So yeah, it's not just a label, kind of something a little newer than that. But yeah, like I think that I didn't have any support for this, but I have my team. Like I have people who are down to help me shoot or are down to help me ideate my like kind of like I would say he's like my creative like guru partner, Godfred. We call him God. And then my like one of my best friends, Portillo. He's a really crazy DP. That was the team. And then we had some other people on the set that were like homies that we knew in Mexico. And like one of our homies, Rochelle, she was really dope. She was actually one of the people who was out there for the film that we had done with Vans. She actually helped on the set. So it was a small team of just the homies kind of just like coming together and supporting the vision. But everything was funded by me. So yeah, it was not like a crazy, there was not a crazy budget for that video. I think the estimate value of that video is probably way more than we spent, you know, exercising that. But yeah, even like getting the equipment in Mexico, like there was favors being pulled. Like the rental company was like, we like the idea so much, we're just gonna help you. So yeah, it was like a labor of love, and honestly, I really appreciate everybody involved, man. That shit was such a important thing for me in that way.
That's beautiful, awesome, man. And I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like no, I definitely saw, I saw the video being played like at one of your shows, like way before it was released, like years before. So what was it exactly? Like, did you wait for the right time for the video to drop, or did the video take like so much time to, I guess, make?
No, it didn't take too long. Like we had made the cut the same week. Like the video had probably been done for like 3 years.
Oh,
Like
okay, wow.
um, I I knew that there were certain technologies that I wanted to integrate, and like at the time, right, we were when we first shot that video, AI started first generating like generative images started to just get populated. It was like I animate too, like I animated the titles and stuff like that. So like that's also my background. I'm a designer, so like I designed all the visual elements in the video. Um, I knew that I wanted to integrate some stuff, and I just was like, I don't want to put this out until I'm ready with the project anyway. So when we shot that, we knew we had an opportunity to shoot it. And my goal was like, I want to cultivate the rest of this project and kind of explore. Because right after I shot the video, the music video, I actually had an opportunity to go to Oregon, and I was in Oregon for like almost a month and a half, and I was like studying on a marina with scientists, like studying gelatinous masses and like bioluminescent algae, like on the coast for my project. And to give you context, my project's name is called Earth Two, and it's kind of like it's like a narrative project about like this nomadic figure who's like kind of navigating this new earth, and all of these like the sciences and like all these things are very involved in this project. So as I was cultivating the project, I was kind of discovering what I wanted to say with New Life and how I wanted that experience to go. Like I knew I wanted to come out on Earth Day, the record. I knew I wanted the video to come out shortly after. I wanted to separate things. And after a while, I decided that like, okay, it's time. The records are pretty much ready on the project. I have enough singles. I feel good about the process of like the rollout for this. So yeah, I decided to drop it. And then yeah, we decided to roll it out. You know, luckily we had a different color for it, but luckily the homies were like, yo, let's double down on it. But yeah, it all worked out.
Awesome, yeah, that's beautiful to hear. I would love to know, I guess, in general, what do you hope listeners take away from your music? Like, what do you hope exactly? What are you hoping to achieve with your music that you're making? Yes.
I think my goal for my listeners is just like I want to make music that contributes to people's like healing, like in any form or shape or whatever that may be. I want to motivate people to like kind of see themselves as like kind of vessels for change. I want to inspire people to like, you know, be authentic with their creative process and not be like in my music. I talk a lot about like, you know, forces, like, you know, eminent forces or like, you know, this bigger brother entity trying to like take things away from like, you know, the smaller guys. And I just want to inspire people to be like, you can do this yourself. You know, you can build it yourself. You can build it with your team. You can build it with your guys. You can build it with your squad. You can build it with the ladies. Like, it doesn't matter. Um, it's just you have the potential to do that shit and you can do it. So I just want to inspire people to see themselves and value the art that they're making. I also want to inspire people to take their time. Like sometimes you need to take your time and figure stuff out and there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I think that's what my music's about. And just to be reflective, to be honest with yourself, a little bit more honest as much as you can, and just to kind of like see yourself and be present in yourself. I would say that's what I would want people to take away from my music, to be honest.
That's beautiful. Awesome. That's a great answer. Yeah. I just have one big question, I guess, to ask before we finish. Is I just want to know, I guess, what your future plans are. You already mentioned Earth 2, but I just want to know what people can expect from you in the future.
Yeah, you know, I'm working on this record called Earth 2. Second single is about to drop relatively soon. And then the next video, um, that record is going to be pretty cool. So I'm hyped for that. But yeah, I'm actually dropping a series of singles for Earth 2, and then the project will come out. Um, right after Earth 2, I actually, in the last like maybe year, I worked on a new record. It's like done. Um, it's a folk album. So I'm working on this kind of like experimental folk album. It's called Quiet Storm. And then I just started working on another new project, and that project is called Research. Um, and I only have like two or three songs for that ready, but I'm excited about it. It sounds fucking crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of different music that like in completely different genres that you're making. I guess that's awesome to hear. And
Yeah.
are you just, I guess, finding the right time to like drop these projects? This is third.
Now, well, you're like I said, Earth 2 is gonna be coming out. Like, I just like wanted to give New Life its space. It's still like, you know, um, a lot of people are reaching out because based on the record. So I'm like, I'm having conversations, kind of figuring out what I want to do next steps. Um, next single's gonna come out. I'm gonna roll that out, let it live, and then drop the project. I'm kind of just creating space between things. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, like you need to like capitalize on momentum. I'm like, yeah, that's big, but it's also like I want to make moments. Like with my records, I know like it's hard to do that now when it's like there's, you know, every second, you know, there's something. Content is king, you know. But I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm an artist, man. Like this, as much as like the generation has created the curve, I'm like, I'm gonna create my own curve. Like if people rock with it, they rock with it. Like that's what my belief is. Um,
Awesome. Yeah. You're
yeah.
staying
So
true to
like,
yourself. Yeah. I love to see it.
yeah, man. I think it's important nowadays. But yeah, no, that's what I'm working on. I got a couple things coming up, but I definitely am rolling out some stuff very soon. Next record, which is actually, I'll tell you the name of it. Actually, it's called Many Lives, Many Teachers. So that's the next record that's coming out.
Awesome! I can't wait to hear it, man. That sounds great. To finish, I guess I just want to know, I guess, if you have any last words for the people watching.
Um, no, not really. Like, I think I said a lot, but shout out to Pink Rabbit. And I respect what you guys are doing. I like some of the interviews that I've heard so far, so I'm excited to see more from y'all and see more from what you're doing. But like, shout out to the fans that are supporting me right now and people are reaching out. I really respect. And it's too early to love y'all, but I'll love y'all soon. So, but yeah, shout out to y'all.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, especially coming from you, man. That means so much. Yeah. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll make sure to include all of Caine's socials and music in the description to make sure, I guess, to stay up to date to when he's dropping and to listen to all of his music. And yeah, you can follow our Instagram at the Pink Rabbit Show and subscribe to our YouTube here to know whenever a new interview is dropping. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.
Peace out.